Hi, this is Brian with ActiveMelody.com. In this week's guitar lesson, I'm going to show you how to play this awesome Delta Blues composition that you can play with hybrid picking. So we're going to be breaking down hybrid picking. I'll explain what all that is. If you're a fingerstyle player and you don't want to touch a pick, you can do that too. I'll show you how to play this fingerstyle as well. So we'll break this down note for note. I'll show you how to play it, show you where the notes come from over the course of 2 videos. In this video, we'll learn the first half. If you'd like to watch the second half, and get the tablature and the interactive tab viewer for this lesson, you can get that by going to ActiveMelody.com. Go to the weekly lessons page and do a search for EP323. Alright, so if you've been following my videos for a while, you've probably noticed by now that I have a different background. And this is something I've been working on for a while. For years I've been sitting in front of the same old white backdrop or black backdrop, sitting up on a stool, which is not a very comfortable way to make videos. And so I wanted to create an environment that's a little more comfortable, a little more personal. And so that's what I'm kind of working on here. And I'll be tweaking it over the course of the next few videos, trying to get the lighting right and sort of what goes back there. But this is the space that I'm trying to create and sort of the direction that I'm going. If you like it, please leave me a comment on YouTube or whatever page you're viewing this video on. If you don't like something or if something's distracting, let me know that as well. It's helpful to hear that feedback. So that's the backdrop. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. So let's talk about this song. Now, if you're interested in learning how to use hybrid picking, this is the lesson for you because we're going to be hybrid picking this thing. If you're a fingerstyle player and you don't want to touch a pick, that's okay because this lesson is perfect for you as well. Just know that every time I'm using the pick on these bass notes, you can use your thumb instead. That's the only difference. This substitute you'd have to change. So let's talk about this song. It's played in the key of A. It's a Delta Blues, classic Delta Blues style composition. Sounds great, by the way, on acoustic or electric guitar. You can do it either way. But I'm going to start off with this intro that goes... Classic kind of piano sounding intro. So let's start with that first chord. It's an A chord, because remember we're playing this in the key of A. So the first chord is an A. I'm barring the first 2 strings on the 5th fret, middle finger's on the 6th fret 3rd string, ring finger is on the 7th fret 4th string, and we're going to play the open A string as well, the open 5th string. So we'll play those top 5 strings, and when I play that, I'm going to do a downstroke to play the chord, and then I'm going to do an upstroke on the 1 string. So it sounds like that. You can also think of that as your A bar chord. It's just your A bar chord. We're not playing the full bar. We don't need that. We're just playing the top 4 strings out of that bar chord. So we have that. Then we go to this chord, which is really nice sounding. It's an A diminished 7 chord. And the way that I'm making this chord is if you look at these 3 fingers, they're making the D chord shape that you would learn down in first position. You just take that chord shape and you move it up here so that your middle finger is on the 4th fret 2nd string. And then you put your pinky down to complete that chord on the 5th fret 1st string. And we're going to do the same strum pattern. Downstroke for the chord, upstroke on the 1 string. So all together now we have... Now we're going to take this same concept, but we're going to move these 3 fingers down a fret. They're going to go this direction, 1 fret each, keeping our pinky, though, on the 5th fret 1st string. So it sounds like this. Now that chord that I just made is a D minor 6 chord with an A over A, with an A in the bass there. It's just a really nice sounding walk down. So if we start it from the beginning, we have... Now the last chord is an A chord again. We go back to our A chord. This time I'm playing the A chord down in first position where I bar the first 4 strings on the 2nd fret. But to close out the chord, I put my pinky up on the 5th fret 1st string, which is your A note. So you have... Now, if you're not used to that voicing, get used to it if you're wanting to get into acoustic blues, because you see this all the time, where you can go from the major chord to the dominant 7 chord by keeping that bar there. And what's nice about that is you can play it anywhere on the neck. So that's the intro. And then there's the classic Robert Johnson turnaround. So let's learn that. Now, to play that, what's happening here, and this is where hybrid picking comes into play. We start our hybrid picking. So I'm going to put my middle finger on the 5th fret 4th string, and And look at that, I'm just walking down chromatically, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, all on the 4th string. While that's happening, I've got my ring finger on the 5th fret 1st string playing the A note, and I play it twice each time. So I go. Notice that stays down the whole time. Now those are the fingers I like to use. I like to use my ring finger, my index finger for that. Actually, I start off with my middle finger. And so you're plucking with your ring finger on the 1st string while your pick is hitting that 4th string. And then we're going to do that. Now we're going to let go of that 5th fret 1st string, play the open 1 string while your index finger comes down to the 2nd fret 4th string. So all together. Now watch this. This is where I go to the 5 chord, which is the E7 chord, and I played it like this. And so what I'm doing for that is I'm going to play an upstroke on the open 2, 3, and 4 string, or the 2 and 3 string. And even though those notes are kind of wrong, it actually works when you hear it in time. It keeps the rhythm right. So we're going to play that. Then I'm going to make an E chord and come down and hit the 6th string with a downstroke. My pinky's going to go down on the 3rd fret 2nd string so that I can do an upstroke on strings 2 and 3. You could use your middle and ring finger to pluck that as well. I don't remember exactly how I did that, but you could do that either way. So it goes like this. Now after that, I'm going to hit the open 6th string again, open 1 string, back to the open 6th string. Now that sounds confusing, but let me play it in timing, just the E part, the 5 chord, and it'll make sense. So here we go. Hear that bass note each time right on the beat. Okay, from the beginning then, it sounds like this. Okay, now we're ready to get into the 1 chord, or the verse, and it sounds like this. This is where we're going to be full-on hybrid picking. So what's happening there? Well, the pick is going down on the open 5th string. That's why we're doing this in the key of A, by the way, so that we have these open strings. So you hear that? Right on the beat. Now I'm muting that with this part of my hand, so I'm resting that on the strings. You could let it ring out, but it seems a little too bright, and so I like to kind of go into the palm muting there just for those bottom 2 or 3 strings. And that's just a matter of kind of playing around with it. Within 5 minutes you should be able to sort of adjust your hand to get that right sound. And it's just a matter of resting your hand in a certain spot on your guitar. Now what's happening on strings 1 and 2 is I'm thinking about, to get here mentally, I thought about minor pentatonic scale pattern 5. So pattern 1 would be right there. Pattern 5 is just behind pattern 1, which would be here. So I'm playing that little box there out of pattern 5. It's a great box for blues. And so that would be between the 5th fret and the 3rd fret on the 2nd and 1st string. And the way that I'm playing that is I've got my ring finger on the 5th fret 2nd string. My index finger is on the 3rd fret 1st string. And what I do is I do a hammer-on with my pinky to the 5th fret 1st string. So it goes like this. Now notice I'm doing that with my middle and ring finger. My ring finger's on the 1st string, my middle finger's on the 2nd string. And when I play that, I'm using my pick to also pick the 5th string at the same time. So we're going to start with that. Just try and get that, where everything rings out. Now we're going to introduce this triplet. It sounds like this. So it's triplet, triplet. And while I'm playing the triplet, I'm hitting my pick on the bass string in time. So you just want to practice it like this to get it going. Now if you're a fingerstyle player, just use your thumb like this. So you get the same kind of thing going. Now watch this. That's how I got out of it. So I took my pinky off, I kept my ring finger and my index finger, and I played 2, 1, 2. Those are the string numbers I'm plucking with my middle and ring finger. 2, 1. Now when I play 1, my bass note is going to happen at the same time, so I'm going to pick the 5th string. So it goes like this. And then I'm going to come down to the 1st fret, 2nd string, and I'm going to hit my bass note again. That's right on the beat. So it goes like this. Alright, so let's back it up. We should have this so far. Now after that, I went right into the blues shuffle, just to fill that little space where there's nothing happening. Now the way to play that shuffle is come up here to the 2nd fret, 4th string with your index finger, and you're going to play the open 5th string and then that 2nd fret. And you're going to go back and forth between the 2nd fret and the 4th fret on that 4th string. Just like that. And I'm palm muting that, so both of those sound muted. So when I back up and play, right? And notice what's going on there musically is you're letting the music breathe for a little bit, just like a vocalist would do. They're taking a breath in between phrasing. So I think of this as a phrase. There's a rest. And then we say something else. Just the way you would do vocally. So just keep that in mind if you're writing something or you're improvising, that it's okay to take rests like that. So after the shuffle, then we come back and play the same notes. So I'm doing that same hammer on. And I'm going to play that 5th fret 2nd string, 3rd fret 1st string, which we've already done. And then I went another kind of Robert Johnson style leg. And so all I did to play that was I kept that same shape, but I slid everything down 1 fret. So we have, and then back. Just notice the timing part with your pick and playing on the beat. And if you're not a premium member, you should look into that, because premium members get access to the tablature. And you got a slow version of me playing with no commentary. And so you can get the timing. That's what you want to work on. That's the key to this whole thing, is keeping that right on the beat. So one thing that I should mention that happens a lot when you're playing this style is sometimes the bass note will just accidentally follow the timing of the melody. Let me give you an example. So instead of playing where it's supposed to be right on the beat, it might go. That's okay. Just try and self-correct. You'll hear that in a lot of blues recordings where it's not always exactly precise. In fact, if you watch the intro of me playing it, you'll see where I did that in a spot or two. And it was just sort of accidental, and I kind of couldn't trick my brain out of it. Just try and self-correct if that happens, and try and just get back to the thump right on the beat. It's not the end of the world. You could do it either way. In fact, that's another whole rhythm. It's just another way of doing it. So it's okay to blend the two. All right, so let's back it up from the beginning. We'll skip the first intro part. We'll start from the walk down, and we'll take it up to where we are. So we'll start from here. All right, now we go to the 4 chord. Now what I'm doing for that is I'm playing a D7 chord, but I'm using an F sharp note in the bass. And this is very common with blues. It gives you a nice bass note that's low down there, so you're not trying to hit that 4th string, which just isn't bassy enough. You get that F sharp, which is in the D chord. Okay, so what we're going to do for that, the way that I'm fingering this with my left hand, I've got my index finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. My ring finger is on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. and I got my middle finger, my ring finger plucking those. My middle finger goes down on the 2nd fret 6th string. So that's what all that's being played there are those 3 strings. Pick on the 6th string, these 2 fingers plucking strings 2 and 3. So you have, and what I'm doing for that, the timing goes like this. You can see my index finger comes off, and that's all that's happening. Oh, and to get into that, I did a walk up on that 6th string. Open, 1st fret, 2nd fret. Make sure you're using your middle finger on that 2nd fret. So you have, it sounds like that. Now let me back up and play into that. I'll play from, notice on the beat. Let me do that slowly. It's a lot like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. It's that same kind of thing, but once you do it, once you get the groove going, you'll be able to do it without thinking about it. Then watch this. So what I did there is I went back to the E chord, back to the 5 chord, to the 1 chord, or the A. So to play that, I'm just playing an E chord, and I'm plucking strings 2 and 3 with my ring and middle finger, right hand. I'm doing a hammer-on though to that 1st fret 3rd string with my index finger. Just make the E chord and do that hammer-on. Then I'm gonna pluck the open 1 string. Pinky goes down on the 3rd fret 2nd string to create that E7 chord. So you have, and then I come down here and I bar the first 4 strings on the 2nd fret with my index finger. I'm only playing strings 2 and 3. So you have, now after you get to that, my pick is going to hit the 5th string to keep the rhythm going, or keep the timing right. So you have, now after that, I'm going to put my pinky back up here on the 5th fret 1st string, and I'm going to try and hit strings 1 and 2. If you only hit the 1 string, that's okay. So you have, there's a muted strum after that. And then watch this. We're just going to repeat. We're going to play the open 5th string, play strings 1 and 2, and then another mute. And the reason for those muted strums is just helps keep everything in time. All right, so let's back up from the very beginning and play up to that point. So we have, all right, so then, awesome little bluesy thing there. And what I'm doing there is I'm coming back to this A bar chord shape. So I'm thinking about just the triad, the top 3 strings out of that bar chord. But I'm doing a hammer on, so I'm picking the 3rd string and I'm plucking the 1st string with my ring finger. So I'm barring the first 3 strings on the 5th fret. And I do the hammer on to the 6th fret 3rd string. And then, so all I'm doing there is I'm playing that 1 string each time that I hit these notes. So that's 6th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, back to the 7th, back to the 6th. All that happens on the 3rd string. So that's a little blues lick that I'm playing over the A chord. Now since we're connecting it back to that chord shape, or that triad, the reason I mentioned that is you could play that in any key now. There it is in this key of C, for example. One other sidebar here is if you like that intro, that walk down, look at how that starts. Both notes are on the 5th fret, which is the fret you bar when you're playing your bar chord. So if you wanted to play that in C, for example, you could go. So anyway, little sidebar, but I wanted to just point that out. Okay, so we have, now after that, we're going to go to the 5 chord. And I'm starting here on the 4th fret, 5th string, walking down to the 3rd fret, walking down to the 2nd fret. And most of what we're going to learn from here on out is going to be a repeat of what we've already done. So after we do the walk down, open 6th string, there's your E7 chord, hammering on with your index finger to the 1st fret, 3rd string, open 1 string, pinkies down on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and then watch this. There's your D7 chord, same walk up, back to your E chord, and then to your A chord. So all together that goes. All right, and then same little walk down there that we played in the intro, exactly the same. And then we go into the second half. Now I'm going to save that for part 2. For premium members, we'll go into the whole, all of that. All right, so let me back up and I'll play through this first half one more time. I'll play through it slowly. And then I'll see you in part 2, where we'll learn the rest of this. And remember, as a premium member, you have access to not only the part 1 and 2 videos, but you have access to the tablature and the on-screen tab viewer as well. So here we go.